Hello and welcome to Scots United, where I, Scott, and my team of Scots, who are also me, bring you the latest in movies, television, and popular culture. It's been a rough week. It's been some rough weeks. And, there's a lot to talk about. We have two movies we want to cover that we saw recently, but before we get into that, we want to talk about some TV offerings that are recently been added to Netflix that, we think you might want to check out. So let's go to Scott and hear about Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Scott, I wanted to really talk about the educational benefit of the show. I mean, if you're a parent, you know a parent right now that's like, how do I fill the summer? I feel like I need to supplement, my child's education because this end of the year was kind of rough. What are some shows that are good but are also educational and maybe not in a way that's obvious? And I think, ding, 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 Avatar: The Last Airbender. You can't find a better choice right now.
How so?
As someone that used to teach English, I mean, any show you can pick apart in terms of like, who are the characters? What is their struggle? What is their arc? What do we see them what's happening to them? How is the character learning? What are they doing in the choices they're making? This isn't just a madcap show where they're just doing crazy stuff. I mean, yes, there's adventure and there's monsters and there's, fun, lighthearted moments, but that's just good pacing. That's just good writing. That's just good plotting. You can very easily look at the show and look at the character of Aang. He's been, sort of frozen in time for 100 years. Everyone he knew is gone. The world has changed. He's trying to find his place in it. He's trying to, do the right thing by the world and by others. And he's not always perfect. And I love that about Aang and about the show. Aang does not always make the initial first choice. Sometimes he struggles, but he's always striving to be his best self, to improve, to do, the right thing. And that is difficult.
Yeah, just ask Donald Trump, because he can't do anything to save his life. Miserable piece of...
One of my favorite scenes so far is when he goes Avatar, when he sort of lets loose in his powers, because his kind of, not his pet, but the flying water buffalo that's sort of their travel companion, which sounds silly saying it, but this creature that was from his past, that was frozen in time with him. This is one of the last kind of vestiges of his old life that's all but gone. And when Appa is taken, he is full of rage, and he starts to go nuclear as he can, and everyone runs, but Katara stays, and she has that moment. It's so beautifully animated that she's not maybe a tad disappointed, but also sad because she knows how emotionally he's reacting, and she's able to pull him back from the brink and to go to him and embrace him so that he knows he's not alone. It's just, there is so much, and that's not the only example of something like that in this show. There are these strong emotional moments that are animated beautifully that tell so much beyond what words can say.
I mean, that's the beauty of animation. All right, I think we have... Oh, there's another Scott that wants to jump in. I guess, do you want to get back to one of the movies, Scott?
Scott, I wanted to talk about how emotional the show is.
Oh, okay, we're talking still about Avatar.
There is some real emotional complexity for a cartoon. There's a vulnerability to the show and to the characters, and particularly like the emotional lives of the male characters. I really respect the show, and again, this show was not made today. This was made over a decade ago, where you have a communication about feelings, about, someone's growth emotionally, about what they're working through, and the kindness of the characters.
I mean, yeah, that is rare. Scott, you seem a little choked up.
I'm sorry, I'm a little bit still. I just watched Mako, who was the voice of Uncle Iroh. He passed away while they were, still recording, and the tribute episode has a scene where
Uncle Iroh in that scene.
Uncle Iroh's
It's okay. Take your time.
Uncle Iroh's son has been dead for a bit, and his and Uncle Iroh acknowledges his son's birthday and lights a little shrine to him and sings a song. And again, like, it's I mean, we all know, like, animation at its best is not silly, is not thin. There can be so much emotional weight, and Uncle Iroh is one of my favorite characters. The way in which he continues to look after his nephew, who has been mistreated by his father, who has been pushing in a good way Zuko to be better, to let go of his hate and his anger, to grow, and Iroh himself realizes that he is not the same man that he was when he was in the military.
Yeah, this isn't static cartoon characters doing the same thing over and over again. This is some real character transformation.
To see a male character of power and of strength shown to have such sensitivity and warmth and love for other characters, not just for his blood relatives, and the way in which he honors his son is just really well done.
You could watch these episodes with your kids and have discussions about, what is this character going through? What does that scene mean to you? What was happening there? And talk about the lessons that they're learning about being a good person. Plus, the whole basis of the show is there's, the Fire Kingdom and the Earth Kingdom, and, the airbenders are all gone. He's the last airbender. And then the water tribes. And there is built in, even amongst, sometimes within the tribes, there is, this group versus that group, and, we don't like them, and people that have, built up sort of, prejudices against other peoples. And you have this element in the show of, for instance, Uncle Iroh teaching his nephew and explaining to him that he learned how to be a better firebender by using some techniques he learned from watching the waterbenders and incorporating that into his firebending. And again, it can sound, just in saying that, that sounds silly and it's just an animated TV show. But what is it really saying? By observing the practices and the cultures of another group, I can find a more strength and diversity in my own self. I can be a better version of myself by appreciating that difference is good. And I think right now, with so much xenophobia in the world and
race riots in America right now, it's rough. It's serious.
We're in this world right now where a lot of people are against each other. Embracing a show where differences can be addressed and where you see that example of certain people rising above that and seeing the strength and the value of diversity, that is very, very profound to me. And I think it's another huge reason why this show has such value right now, especially to anyone, but especially to families that want quality programming to open up bigger discussions.
So there you go, folks. I mean, this episode turned into a salute to Avatar: The Last Airbender, and we couldn't be happier about it. If you need a show that's sweet and romantic and also funny and exciting and deep at times and light at times, it's great. Maybe it's a great distraction for you right now. If you need something to watch with your kids to have some bigger conversations about how to treat people and how to, see beyond the petty frustrations and the divisions and maybe, come together, this is a show for you. This is really a show for anybody. It's excellently done. We're only, 2 seasons through, and I can't wait to jump into season 3. So I highly recommend it, and I hope you check it out. We will be back next week with more. We will cover the 2 movies we have also seen, and that would be Uncut Gems and The Hunt. We will see you then.